right now.
Okay.
This one. This is the intro to the Peak Performance Podcast, featuring Profnyan, me, and Tiyo, my co-host. How are you today, Tiyo?
I'm doing well. This recorded probably 2 weeks in advance. So right now I'm still learning Zombie, and that level is fun. I don't know what my opinion is when this episode comes out, but yeah.
Hmm.
I hope you have a great morning as well.
Yes, I've had my coffee, gotten ready for recording. I do, and I actually like enjoy the times I do get up early, especially for stuff like this, because it feels nice to just get up and actually have a plan for early morning. I don't typically do that because my schedule typically revolves around how I often have been working in the evenings. So having something to do in the morning is atypical. So that makes recording days really nice.
Yeah. But we are here to talk about Celeste, Prof.
We are?
Also,
Are you sure
I don't
about
know.
that?
I actually no. So what do you like about recording this podcast? Because we don't want to talk about Celeste. We want to talk about anything else. No, okay, okay, no. Um, last time we talked still about history. This time probably a bit as well, but definitely less because we don't have a lot left. And
Mhm.
we had before starting recording, we had to talk about framing 7B world record and in general, like really micro time saves that not a lot of runners actually go for, or even like time these micro time saves and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the tiny things that add up to, at most 2 frames here, 3 frames there, but if you're doing hundreds of those little things throughout the course of a run, just having really clean movement and all that, it adds up to a lot. And something that I feel is true of most of the people who run Celeste is almost nobody tries to really take every single inch and break it down and get as much time save as they can out of things. Like people who clearly have done that are city monkeys, first of all, like people who run city, because you kind of have to if you're going for like 54 or 53 or even 52 now, like with what Tao seems to be going for. Like have you seen
Yeah.
that going on?
Yeah, I've seen that. All honestly, the what was it? Last room start and crossing and chasm, which is technically 52. But to be fair, when this is out, maybe Tau already got the 52. We don't know because Tau is grinding for it right now.
Yeah, it could have already happened by the time this episode's out. But Tao with the calm sob sweep, he's occasionally just been sending me DMs of no words, just the calm sob for me to put up on the sheet and like, yes, congrats again. And it's always like 1 frame at a time, just because that's how it is at this point. Calm sob's a 52.275 as of just a few days ago with that like 17.323 chasm. I'm just looking at it on the side here. But yeah, it's crazy how dedicated you have to be to really squeeze literally every single frame out of a checkpointer out of anything in this game, honestly. So people who've done that over time that I can think of off the top of my head are obviously Tao, Aleph. Zcad you could say is probably one of the people who is the almost the original true IL grinder, as far as I'm aware, at least. I haven't been around forever. But then there's also the 0815 show. Um,
Yeah, shout out to Ryan.
and I I'd say probably Preemi as well, but it's hard to say with Preemi considering how he hangs back and just uploads things when he has gotten an insane time already, and you have no idea how many countless hours he's put in because he just doesn't do anything in the public eye.
Yeah, it's like if you check the times that Premi got, then you can see that Premi is probably one of these players because um the 3K that they got in the 556 was a 207, and Comsop at this point of time is a 205 with and the concept has like hard room demo and like 13 pause buffer demo, which save like 3 seconds or something.
Yeah, like 3.5. I think maybe maximum 4 together. Probably not quite that much, but either way, though, preemie,
Yeah, and
like you said, neither of those demos, and then still only 2 seconds, like 2.3 off of ComSob. That is a crazy good movement for that whole checkpoint.
yeah, because Premi got a 207.7 in 3K, which is really, really good without those.
Yeah.
Like that's hard, I think that's hard even with one of these threats. So yeah, getting that time without these, like, yeah. But definitely like even top level full game runners don't really go for, like, they go for a lot of time save, they time stuff themselves and stuff like that. Of course they try to squeeze out frames, but they don't try to like hard squeeze out every single frame out of a room. I
Yeah,
think
it is. There is definitely a solid argument for it being a different environment. You don't have the necessity to do that. I guess you could also say there's never a necessity to do that. You never have to save that much time, but it's especially when you're considering ILs versus full game. Full game, you're not wanting to go for every single last frame everywhere because that's going to make it a lot harder than it probably needs to be when your goal is really just solidly fast strats, decent movement, and don't really die. Because dying is, the big issue in full game runs.
dying is slow. What?
That's
No way.
crazy. Yeah, no, like
What?
if you die in an IL that you're taking super seriously, and it's not a much longer IL, like if it's not something like 6 or not 6B, 7B, or maybe even farewell, or like something really long like summit, dying is typically just a reset for IL runs, just like all the shorter ones. So
Yeah.
it's like you don't even consider that in the view of what are my time losses for a run, because it's not a time loss. It is just run over at that point.
Yeah. Like I know, for example, um I think we're definitely like prof. We both definitely still time a lot of stuff ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But for example, because I had that name in my head right now, Isaac, for example, mostly just takes the stuff that people say are fast, maybe times a bit, and then just and practice as the strat, but not really like times every single thing or something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it depends what exactly I'm doing. I'm kind of similar to Isaac in that in some ways. Like when I've been going through full clears over time recently here, there's been plenty of stuff that I try to go out of my way to lab, but then there's also plenty where I just, watch people who are fast, like just take reference straight out of what Coral does and be like, okay, I'll just do this too. Because it's just so much to learn when you're trying to go through full clears for the first time. If you haven't ever played Aura Berries or anything before, it's it's just such a monumental amount of new gaming you got to be good at. That I did take more of a shortcut approach to some of it. So yeah, I get what Isaac is like there, but then there are times where I'm playing something like 7B and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try and get as much as I can.
Yeah, or like 4B, for example, I think as
Oh
well,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the one. There's this like this one really specific strat in the third room that I think about related to that. Um, yeah, just for some context for when we're talking about 4B here, in February of this year, February 2022, maybe was it end of January or beginning of February ish that this really like the whole thing blew up. I don't remember exact date.
I
Okay,
don't
well,
remember
somewhere in
either.
there, it's not super important the exact days, but somewhere in there, there were a couple people in the span of a single day that got back to back world records in 4B, and a few of us on the verification team were like, "Oh, sick! This level's getting attention again. I want to try to run it." So Tiyo, Talia, and myself all just kind of jumped at the opportunity because we also noticed that the real world record, which was removed from superspeedrun.com by Aurora, I think we talked about that at one point, so I'm not going to
Yeah,
hash
yeah,
over it
we
again
talked.
here. Okay, yeah, conversation's already been had in previous episodes, but yeah. So the real world record was still not beaten. It went 242, 241 or something like that on these two new world records on SRC, but they didn't beat the actual record that was off of it. And we thought, hey, let's try and push it back down below that. So we all jumped on the bandwagon of 4B there, and just kind of we're grinding that over the course of the next few weeks. Um, and it just made me realize how many tiny new things that we kind of like ran into through playing 4B there. And one of the weird things was this thing in room 3 where there's like the breakable wall near the beginning of the room, and if you
Yeah.
break it at very, very close to the top, you can cancel it with a climb jump right after. But you have to both break it very near the top, then cancel it with a tiny climb jump where you barely tap jump, but you also can't press jump too early because there's the freeze frames of the block, and it was this whole weird thing that was pretty hard to get used to. But it's like there's so many of those tiny things, and it only saved like 0.2, I think, maybe a quarter second. But there's so many of those tiny things that are really hard, but at first at least, but that are throughout the course of the entire game, that it is hard to just time things yourself sometimes and try and find every little thing like that. So huge props to people who are dedicated enough to actually go over every inch for that.
Yeah. But this is a good opportunity to talk about the whole 4B thing while you brought this up, because we wanted to talk about that anyway.
Yeah, sure. We can transition into that.
But yeah, perfect. You knew what this episode was going to be about. We didn't have a plan, by the way.
We don't need a plan. We're just here to hang out and have a good time talking about Celeste.
Yes, yes, exactly. But yeah, we just sat sat in the VC, we chilling, saw the new runs in the queue, and yeah, that we all three, like Talia, you and me, like were like, oh yeah, we're gonna push this level. That was so fun. Like we like
Yep.
all three of us just labbed strats, shared strats with each other and with each other.
Yeah, I'm very happy
And
we did that. Because on top of that, it also got other people interested in. So it was this whole, yeah, I guess bandwagon effect of everybody's playing a level. There's huge sudden interest in it, so more people are labbing it. And then I don't know who labbed the other coin skip in the end.
Zika.
Well, I thought he posted it, but he said it wasn't his idea. And it just ended
Oh,
up getting called Zcad Coin Skip because he was the one who posted it for them, like just in the Discord at that point.
oh,
He
maybe it
even
was an old thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he even said, please don't call it Zcad Coin Skip. And then somebody made a joke about, okay, I will keep calling it that. And then he said, okay. It was something weird like that. I'm gonna search for first Zcad Coin
Yeah.
Skip reference in
But
here.
yeah. Yeah, that coin skip is really something, right? Like, what was it again? Like of course you had a
Yeah.
two frame, I think, upright
Okay. So
window,
just
which
for
turned
context
pretty
here,
good.
first of all, though, it's like you're already in the very last checkpoint of the level. So you're already 2 minutes and 15 seconds of very intense uh movement. It's actually like the third to last room, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah. So this is the
Yeah,
third to
yeah.
last room of a about 2.5, 245 long level, and you have a 2 frame window to hit an upright dash, and then after that you have a really feel based climb and like wall kick off of the very right wall to actually make it up and around in the end anyway. So it was just It was a really, really rough strat to be good at. But it saved a full second. So it was the kind of thing that you, in a level like 4B, where so much of the time save that you could potentially have is just eaten by the fact that you're playing auto scrollers. Um, it's just, it's like something that 1 second was really, really important.
Yeah. Like what did you have to do? I think you have to like fully actually grab the wall, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
do a climb jump, hold away, but don't wall kick at the peak of the height, but either shortly before or after, right? I think that was it.
It was like shortly before peak is what you wanted to aim for of that climb jump. But then it was
Yeah.
also the most important part of it that was the really weird part. And that was also subpixel dependent in that it would be randomly harder sometimes to do, was you had to get a wall kick off of the wall while you were like 1 or 2 pixels off of the wall already. Because if you didn't do that, it was like you could do it without that, but it made it way harder to even make it around the little lip. So there's like a little wall that you get to at the end if you do this coin skip, and there's a lip that hangs out above that, and you have to like jump to the left, but then grab back to the right to barely grab it. And if you didn't wall kick off of like the air next to the wall, which is this, you get a little bit of leniency for wall kicks. It's like 2 or 3 pixels. Um, yeah, and if you didn't do that, then you would just have a much harder time of making it up there. So it meant there was like another 2 to 3 frame window. I'm pretty sure it was of whether you could get a wall kick from further away from the wall. But,
Yeah, and then the turnaround, which was also stupid. I think I remember that you got it pretty consistent actually, and I struggled with it. I remember that.
yeah,
Like I know I bound a button to right climb jump just for that.
I don't blame you. I honestly feel I got like at least when it comes to some really weird movement like that, I feel like I would not have been comfortable on it on controller. Like even if I had played this entire time still on controller, I feel like just the definitive exact feel for timing I could get with my directions on keyboard since then has been much comfier. So yeah, I don't blame you at all for needing an extra button for that. Yeah. Like I feel like I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not, just regarding the differences between controller and keyboard. Generally speaking, you can say that it doesn't matter if you play controller or keyboard, and you'll still be fine. You know, there's not too much difference. But personally, when trying to go for the very highest level of strats, I feel like it starts to be weighted in keyboard's advantage, just for at least in my opinion, a little bit more precision and the fact that you can just have more keybinds. Like, what's your personal opinion on keyboard controller argument there?
I personally think keyboard is way better for like so much better.
Okay, from the controller player, you heard it here
And I
first.
am the control. I am the controller player. No, but like actually, if um for these really top strats, uh, like having the space to bind more buttons is so useful. Like um I don't think it's that bad honestly on controller because I always have one button that is barely used, which is my feather boost bind. So I can just rebind that to something else if it's a
Hmm.
level without feathers, right?
Yeah.
So so that's at least something. So for example, that one was the one I bound to right climb jump for B,
Ah,
or
I see.
in 3B, the upright an upright dash bind
Oh
for
yeah,
the hard
for Heartland.
for the older harder buffer dashes setup.
Hmm.
I I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a weird one.
yeah, it was pretty based, but at the same time, it's so much easier to just not do that strat, but do
Hmm.
the other.
Yeah,
other
the new
setups
setup you
that
made
I've
is
done.
very nice.
Yeah. Um,
Anyway, back to
but yeah.
4B there, though. When I get back
Oh,
on... Oh, yeah, something to say
oh,
there?
yeah. What I wanted to also say is some other movement aspects of keyboard, like having actual different buttons for movement
Hmm.
is, I think, also very useful.
What
I don't
exactly
think
do you
it's
mean by, like, different buttons for movement?
no, I mean
Oh,
that you
different
have
directional
four
buttons.
keys. That you
Okay.
have that you have actual four
And
keys
not a D-pad
that you
or a
can
stick, but okay.
yeah, that you can press independently of each other,
Yeah. I mean,
which is very,
some
very useful.
some people still got, like, custom D-pads and stuff for that. Like, but that was a very, very small minority, I think. Does anybody even... There's probably some people, like just a couple nowadays, who have that, like actual separate D-pad buttons. The only person that I can recall having taken it back or taken it that seriously, though, that I actually like know of was TGH, because he was already full in on
Mm.
custom controller type stuff in the first place. So,
No, but yeah, true. But also, what is not possible on controller is pressing left or right while holding the other direction,
oh yeah,
which is actually pretty useful in this game.
yeah, I wound up starting to do that quite a bit after I realized the places I could figure it out. Like I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there have been definitely quite a few places over time I've intentionally learned to do that because it's helpful. Yeah. So that is something that keyboard literally just has as a direct advantage over controller then. There's
Also,
that,
I
and then
think
keybinds
yeah,
and feather boost not needing an extra button if you're gonna be... Because, well, I guess you don't need an extra
yeah,
button even for controller, but nobody wants to do D-pad feathers.
like I know that Gooms, for example, does D-pad feathers,
Hmm.
but I I don't like D-pad
Yeah,
feathers.
that's... Gooms is the minority there. Gooms and whoever
Yeah,
else are in the definitive
yeah,
minority of keyboard, or not keyboard, controller D-pad feather gamers.
yeah. Like Talent and Parkroy, I think are others
Hmm.
that I can recall. But I think in like even feather movement itself, I think is not that bad on keyboard. I think it's actually
Oh no, I
pretty
like
good
it
on keyboard.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is very understandable. Like actually, I personally think it's better on keyboard. Yeah.
The reason for that being, like, after, I did, just for extra context again, I did start Celeste speedrunning on controller. I played, like, nearly my first 1,000 hours on controller, so I had a lot of time there before swapping over to keyboard eventually. But with keyboard, I personally feel that keyboard feathers are actually easier for speedrunning in particular, because if you're like if you're speedrunning something, you can have exact cues for everything, and you can do the same with feathers. Um, and that's just... it's a lot easier to follow exact cues when you only have four directional buttons to do it with, as opposed to the complete freedom that you're given with an analog stick or analog movement of feathers. It is technically faster having analog movement, but I honestly prefer the four directions. So if I had continued playing controller, I think I might have eventually tried to convert to being one of the few D-pad feather gamers.
Yo. No, but yeah, analog is technically faster. Like I think I have good feather movement with analog actually.
Mhm.
But it's definitely way harder to have good feather movement on like top level feather movement on analog compared to keyboard, I feel like.
Yeah. There are certain places where there's just like really good cues. But there's this one room in particular in the falling checkpoint of 6B that comes to mind for me, where there's like you're just taking feathers or a feather from pretty early on in the room. And if you are fast enough on your feather turns and precise enough, you can do two down diagonal dashes, like one to a dash crystal and one through to the end of the room, that you would pretty much never consider otherwise. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone playing on analog actually go for it, because it's just like too precise that way. But
Yeah, definitely. I definitely don't go for it. Like Ryan probably does, but it's Ryan.
Oh, well,
But
yeah, no, absolutely does. It's not even a probably,
yeah,
by far he's the one to be going for that. Because
no.
didn't he has some really ridiculously fast room summer best for falling. It's like a 58 or something.
58. Yeah, it's 58.
Good lord. Yeah.
It's so good. No, but also very short feather keyboard tutorial here in the podcast. It's just important to hold the intermediate direction, right? And
Mhm.
to not do very sharp turns, like to, for example, if you want to just slightly go um from right just a bit down, but still go to the right, you just tap down a bunch, right? To not lose speed. And not you don't hold like down diagonal and then right, because that loses a lot.
Yeah, in general, turning is slow. You want to be turning as little or also as slowly as possible, but there are times where you need to make sharp turns, except if you do them smoothly enough by, like Tiyo said, hold an intermediate direction, you can still keep the feather speed. And then the way to do that is like if you're moving right and you want to move down, you hold right, then you hold down right, and then you hold down. But if you do that too quickly, you'll also lose your feather speed. So it's something you have to like get a feel for with how quickly feathers turn. Um,
Yeah.
that does bring up a thought of mine about movement though in Celeste and how of all things you're gonna you're gonna be sad here, Tiyo, but
No.
movement in 6A I feel is just not as fun because there's more feathers and more bumpers. And those are just things where you're kind of it's just not as interesting, like feathers, you have the whole slowdown as you enter them, and then they're very locked in speed. And then there's like when you're talking about bumpers, there's all this time that you're just kind of stunned waiting to be able to do something in them too. So when I think of 6A, I think of those kind of movement mechanics just bogging things down a little bit and being annoying. But
I think this is why I don't like Hollows, because Hollows has a lot of those.
yeah, it's if it wasn't for the feathers and hollows and then a couple of the bumper rooms, it would be a really really cool checkpoint overall in my opinion. But
Yeah, like
too many
yeah,
bumpers.
like room 4 until I don't know, until the breakable block room is like really fun,
Yeah,
I
that
think.
whole like
Yeah,
generally almost the whole first half of it, even with the like one feather that I think is kind of in there at one point. I
yeah.
feel like the
Also
whole
the
first
also the
half ish
one
is really
one or
good.
two bumpers or something, but
Yeah, but
it's like
they're not that there's not that much by that point. It's overall I'd say it's really fun by that point. But then the whole second half you get more and more bumpers, and then there's two feather rooms in a row at the very end, and that's just like it's not as interesting, unfortunately, as other A sides get from movement.
I personally like though Rock Bottom because it has these small section where you have to optimize the movement. Like of
Hmm.
course it's just buffer, but
Oh,
it's but
yeah. I mean, you're. I just can't. Yeah, there's tiny bits in between where you get to optimize things and do cool stuff, but so much of the rooms in Rock Bottom is just hit battle and wait another 2 seconds or however long, or not. It's not 2 seconds. It's probably like a second each time before you get to dash again. But
I don't know.
you hit her so many times that you just spend so much time in midair getting stunned until you can dash again or do any movement. It's just I cannot appreciate the checkpoint like some others do for that reason. I love the music. I really loved the casually playing through Rock Bottom. I remember that explicitly. I don't, it's been several thousand hours by now of gameplay since I actually played casually, but that is one checkpoint I do remember playing through. I remember loving 6A Rock Bottom when I first played through it. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the music. I just as a speedrunner now, going at top level stuff, it's just not interesting anymore, unfortunately.
This is so sad.
I'm
I'm literally
sorry.
crying over here. I
No.
think we have to cancel this podcast. No, but
No more no more oomphy sleepover, no.
no. Okay, but yeah, you wanted to go back to 4B, I think.
Oh yeah, because we didn't end up talking about the whole
Yeah.
tournament thing that went down yet. So alongside the 4B grind that that kind of exploded after a couple of runners got world record. Um, First of all, I want to actually name them, shout like kind of mini shout out for them. Who were they again? There was one that was in the Celeste chord, and then another that was I think was a
Ota?
Chinese runner.
Oh,
So Billy posting.
like
Um,
Ota was one of
oh yeah,
them.
Ota. Okay, so Ota was the first one to get record with like a low 242, I think it was. Maybe it was somewhere in there, and then there was a
Oh,
Chinese
Mumu.
runner,
Okay,
Mumu.
Mumu was the Chinese winner.
Oh, so that's
Okay.
funny. Two repeating names, Ota and then Mumu. But yeah, shout outs to them for the simultaneous. It was by the way, it was within the same 24-hour period that they both got new world records. So that was just like crazy to see after the level had no interest for ages and ages. Suddenly, two world records on the same day. Like what? So that kind of sparked us to get interested in it in the first place.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also,
Shout outs to them
yeah,
for that.
yeah. Also, what I want to talk about before the tourney, the um, I really liked like just the competition we had over trying to get a world record. Like I don't think I ever had it. No, I never had it. But I definitely think that pushed you to continue.
Oh no, yeah, it absolutely did. When you were getting close to me, I'm like, okay, I'm grinding more. I just straight up was like, nah, I'm playing more of the level. That much is kind of obvious. I get a little bit I got a little bit defensive because I had the chance to, you know. Like same thing
Yeah,
with
yeah, fair.
7B back when Bubs was grinding it and getting all these crazy fast checkpoint times for the time. You know, I think most of them have been beaten by now, but despite that, you know, but back like this is just what is it? September, October of 2021, I think. Bubs Bye Bye was grinding 7B segments, and I had been just like quietly in the background, like, wow, this is really cool and fast strats. I'm gonna take that and then get sub 6. Thanks, Bubs, for the labbing.
Thanks, Bubs. I will get the good time.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to defend the record because it was clear he was wanting to make a push for it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I had a good time. And then Bubs stopped playing Celeste forever. So at the same time, I don't know if that was related, but I do kind of feel bad.
No, I don't think
I don't
so.
know. It's hard.
As,
It's probably not
but
a concern,
Bubs
but
always
yeah.
Bubs always lapped some stuff, but then just gets bored or something and
Yeah.
does something else.
Yeah, he was doing runs eventually, like full runs of 7B for at least a few days or a couple days.
Oh,
I'm not
actually,
sure. Yeah, he did, and he was streaming them and all that. But um, yeah, I'm not. I think I don't know if he kept streaming attempts after I had gotten the sub 6 or not. I don't remember the whole timeline there, but either way, shortly after he had stopped running it and then stopped playing Celeste or stopped
oh,
speedrunning it at least. So I will forever be a little bit
so
sad about that.
so it's your fault. Okay.
Yep. Oh no.
Um.
Yes, but no.
No, 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 no,
No.
no.
Where
Yeah.
were we with 4B though? I was.
Yeah. Yeah. In 4B, I know. I was once.
Hmm.
I had the world, like I nearly had the world record, but I choked in the hard room. I was so
No.
sad.
Oh.
I was so sad.
Wait. I think I was there for that, wasn't I? Oh no.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. I definitely posted about it. I was so
Hmm.
sad. I think I did the demo. I think I pressed demo too early or something. I forgot. Something like that at the top.
Dang.
Oh God. Like normally I don't know. But to be fair, that hard room set is hard.
Oh yeah. It was pretty tough because 3 frame window for the right dash for that demo hyper first of all, and then after that the ultra itself was pretty tight, and then there were some weird things about it that would be probably too much to go into detail about here. But like 4B was hard everywhere except maybe like the first checkpoint after room 2. I don't think was too bad, but
Room
like everywhere
two.
else it was still hard.
Room two. Room 2 is definitely. We have to talk about Room 2,
Oh yeah,
honestly.
yeah, go for it.
Room 2 is a strat. I don't like. Where did that strat put up? I don't think Aurora did go for. Did Aurora go for it?
No, no, nobody had ever gone for that strat before in actual ILs. That is before I think Ota and Mumu both were doing it.
Oh, were they both doing it?
Yeah,
I don't think they
I'm
were.
pretty sure they both had it in their runs. It's
Oh wow,
yeah.
actually.
I mean, I'll check. You keep talking about the
I'm
room, but I'm
checking.
gonna.
Okay, no, I checked. It is.
Oh,
They had it.
okay, yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's a very stupid precise trick. It's really feel based because you have to like um I think you have to tap left or something at some point or and release jump. I don't know. I can't remember
You
what
can
it
do
was
it. You can do
exactly.
it a variety of minor ways to make it work, but regardless, it was still super precise and feel based, no matter how you were doing
Yeah.
it, pretty much.
Yeah, it was super precise, multiple like really tight windows for a trick that saved 3 seconds. So it's not 3 seconds. That's like huge. There are very rarely tricks that save so much time in this game, and at a top level in an IL, like you had to do it.
Absolutely.
So
Like it's the second room too. It's not like it's 3 seconds at the very end of the level where you're gonna have difficulty even getting a pace there in the first place and then it could kill it repeatedly. This is in the second room. You had to do it.
yeah, what we all did was uh do attempts and only get like 50% out of the second room or something. It was stupid.
Yeah. There
It's
was a point where I like had really good surges of it personally. Like I'd get it maybe, I don't know, 75% of the time for a good 20 minutes of attempts, but then,
yeah,
be like
same.
1 in 4, 1 in 5, sometimes worse for an hour. It's just that messed up of a strat.
Yeah, it's so bad. Honestly, I'm really surprised nobody went for it even once in the tourney for content. But yeah. But also there's other messed up shit in this. Like the other most messed up thing is I think the first room in Eye of the Storm.
Oh yeah, God, that so that room, it's just the fastest strat in that room requires um pretty much 2 corner boosts to go in your favor in a way that you have no control over. And if you get both of those corner boosts to go that way, you save like 0.6, 0.7 over what could happen otherwise. But then even before that, there's some other crazy stuff that saves like 0.3 that I don't even know if we ended up doing in runs in the end.
No,
No.
I think no, we didn't. I'm very confident we didn't.
Messed up
But yeah,
room. We did not
it's a
want to
really
make it even
mess.
any harder than it was.
Yeah, the thing is, and it's pretty hard to die to. I think even if you're tempted, so it's not that bad. But it's so easy to lose time to it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like you probably wouldn't end up dying there, but if you didn't get lucky or you didn't react properly to something, you could lose anywhere from like half a second to a second and a half just instantly. It was messed up.
Yeah, which is of course a lot in
Hmm.
a short IL
Yeah.
like a two. Yeah, there's also other like I was I was really surprised that you didn't know about the demo hyper. Like you didn't know that the demo hyper stat was faster in like Gusty Canyon 2, I think is it.
Uh
Yeah,
yeah,
at
it's
the
the
beginning.
second room. I
Yeah.
just had never even considered it because I had always liked the other one. Like I'd gotten a good feel for the other one back when I was doing 4B IL attempts for like this is ages and ages ago, by the way, when I think about it. It might have been a full year before I did the world record grind. Like cause like February, March or
Definitely.
something of 2021 rather than this year. But I had gotten a good feel for the ultra version back then. I had really like actually started to consider, maybe I would use this for full game eventually. Um, and so I just like didn't even think about the demo hyper. But in the end, that was faster, and in a way, it's probably easier. I still haven't gotten a great feel for it even now, though. But yeah, it's that was another one of those ridiculously hard strats. So like we were saying, every single checkpoint had some hard things in it. You just were constantly assaulted with difficult strats from beginning to end the level.
For example, the skill issue clip strat as well.
Yeah, fun clip.
Doesn't the video have over 5K views or something? That skill issue
I think
clip?
I might have been pushing it. Yeah, I don't know if it's there yet, but it was over 3,000, maybe 4,000 by now. Um, that was just a funny little clip of Tiyo.
5.3K
Oh
views.
yeah, so I did get there. It was just a funny little clip of from when I was streaming some 4B practice where Tiyo just asked how I do a certain thing, and was like, "Is there like a way to do this, or is this just skill issue?" Like, yeah, no, that's skill issue, Tiyo. It's all you. There's no setup for this. But, yeah, no,
And it actually was
well,
skill issue, by the way.
okay. There's sort of a setup, you know.
Yeah, but I knew that.
Okay, all right.
I mentioned in chat like that I did that already. So it was actually skill issue.
Skill issue. Get good. Step up your game, Tiyo. Keep up, man.
Okay. I will maybe get work at that at some point.
What you think?
Maybe I
Do
will
you think
be
you'll
good
want to
enough.
go back for
No,
4B?
no, no,
Okay.
no.
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted. We're not going back.
Maybe if someone else goes back. Like honestly, I think it would have the 4B thing. I think it would have lasted shorter if Zcat was actually would have actually been able to play.
Oh yeah, this was okay. So Zeked was interested. Like he was saying he was interested, but like I don't know what it was, but he wasn't able to play for like 5 days or a week right around when this was happening. The whole hype train basically for 4B. So he probably would have come back and tried to be going for world record too. And knowing Zcat and how extremely experienced and talented he is at the game by this point, he probably could have cracked out the first 233 much quicker than I had gotten to it. Maybe even 232, because it's like possible. 232 is possible. It's just it feels so crazy that I couldn't even really personally imagine ever doing it. But
it's like it's possible but stupid, especially like for example, I have the Storm Moon one, like we said, which is basically RNG for us.
Yeah, you'd almost need that to go in your favor, for on top of everything else being fantastic up to that point. So, actually, well, thinking back on it, there was how much time loss did I have going into the second half of the level? I'm gonna look at my splits really quick, comparing like my best splits, because I'm pretty sure I did not have the best run into the second half of the level on the actual world record. Let me see here. Okay, so I have it open. Yeah, my best splits, I have a 110.4 into Gusty Canyon, but on PB and the actual world record, it's a 111. So I've lost 0.6 in the first half of the level there. Well, okay, I guess 0.6 is kind of hard to say. Let's get all this time save right here, but yeah, having that in the first chunk of the level means that's in a way it's still a pretty beatable run.
Yeah,
It takes a lot to get that.
yeah, it's stupid. It's not an easy level. There's so much little time losses you can do, like room 3 and well getting that stupid thing. Also doing like I think we didn't really optimize room 2. I think we were happy just hitting the strat. But you
Yeah,
can optimize
no,
room 2 actually pretty well.
yeah, there were times where I would have a room 2 that I would save like an extra 0.2, 0.3 in, just because of doing it a little bit better. And I couldn't ever really get that consistent. Like it would just happen wildly, because the whole idea for us was just hit the strat. It's so much time saved, you have to do it. That's it. We're not gonna fuss about 0.2, 0.3 when you're already saving at least 2.5 seconds in an instant there. It was just too hard to do that.
Yeah. But also you were really consistent at the 1 frame hyper B hop in or pretty consistent at 1 frame hyper VOB in Ghost Canyon 3,
Yeah,
or like end of 2.
more
Like
consistent.
More
More
that was
consistent
also
at 1. Sorry, you go.
that was also one of the really hard stats in 4B, like the Hyper VOB Ultra. Now you can go.
Yeah. So for some reason, like even though I grinded City at a relatively similar time, and it is just about the exact same inputs, I always felt like I had a better feel for the Hyper B hop in Gusty Canyon 3 than I do for the 1 frame Hyper B hop in City in the beginning of Chasm. They're both of them are just 1 frame Hyper B hops if you're trying to go as fast as possible there, but I never really had the City one down as well as I had that one. It just felt better for I have no idea what reason.
Yeah. The good thing is you can still make it with the 2 frame Hyper B hop. The Ultra gets way harder though, but
Yeah.
at least you can still you don't have to reset if you miss the 1 frame. That's at least something good.
Yeah, I
there.
never checked, but I wouldn't be surprised if you get a 2 frame Hyper B hop, it became a frame perfect Ultra.
Probably. But that set is also one we had to do because it saves a second.
Yeah.
Oh god.
One of those things.
Yeah. But I think now I've talked enough about the IL itself. Now we can actually talk about the tourney.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that too. The tournament that ended up happening there is because basically going along with the hype train. I don't know who proposed the idea, but Jax just posted at some point, "Hey, 4B tournament's going on for just like actual IL tournament of 4B," which is kind of out there to just say, "Hey, let's do an IL tournament." But I guess the hype that we had all collectively caused had been enough for that to be justified. So, who all were the participants in the end? I know that there was. Yeah, you go.
So of course we both of us, Talia, Crab, Rocky, Simplex,
Did Zap participate too?
Zap.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how many are there? I didn't count.
I don't know.
We both.
Counting issue.
Grab, Rocky, Simplex, Zap. I think one is missing.
Is the bracket still? I could probably find the bracket.
Oh, Talia.
Right?
No, wait.
Yeah.
You're probably possible easily.
Okay, and I don't know how to look for it. I'm not. I don't remember.
I know how to. I maybe can find it. Let me give a shot.
You're the Celeste community mod, not me.
I'm not even mod there. Please tell me someone did it under the Celeste community. Like I'm a mod on the Twitch channel, but there 4B shout on. Let's go.
Excellent.
Vapo.
How
could I forget Vapo? Okay. I'm sorry, Vapo, if you listen to this. I'm sorry that I forgot you.
How dare you? What do you have to say for yourself, Tiyo?
Please don't cancel me.
This is the end of your Celeste speedrunning career. You're getting kicked off the mod team for not recognizing Vapo.
No, but in general, who was do you remember who you thought was the favorite to win? Like
I didn't think it was me. I did not. Well, okay. First of all, I shouldn't have done this, but like I didn't end up sleeping the night before.
Oh my god.
So I took a nap between my first match and my second, just because there was some extra time in there, and I was trying to get some more sleep. But my first match, I quite literally was like shaking a little bit from sleeplessness. It was not good.
Oh my god.
Like I probably couldn't have focused as well or because of that. But even without that, even if I was in a well-rested condition, I don't think I would have been the favorite for it because I had been taking more difficult strats and I didn't take the time out to practice consistency as much as I would have wanted to if I like was really really trying to be winning it. It's like I think I wanted to be a part of it, but I also had started to shift my focus onto other things at that point anyway. So it was
Okay.
I hoped to, I still expected to get like top three, but I did not expect to win. As for who I thought was favorite, I could not think between you and Talia. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, fair.
I
I
mean, the
I
three of
definitely
us were at the top of the level boards anyway. I knew we were the three who had really grinded out all the little things that mattered more than anybody else. So I didn't really expect an underdog story outside of that.
the only underdog story I could have maybe think could have happened is that Vapor would snag off the game because Vapor's pretty consistent at everything, right?
Yeah, that's
So
Vapo's. What's the word for that? There's some word. It's okay. It's like I don't know if this I'm using this right, but modus operandi. You heard that phrase before?
I heard it, but I don't know if you used it right here, but sure.
Anyway. Oh, a particular way or method of doing something, especially one that is characteristic or well established. So I think that's exactly what it is. It's the way in which
Okay.
Vapo plays Celeste speedrunning in general, is consistency focus. So a tournament like this would be exactly what he might excel in. So it was possible if people played like I ended up playing. I was wildly inconsistent on my races.
Yeah, you nearly lost against Crab.
I had a really bad time.
like I think Crab died in the hard room or something. Otherwise, you would have lost.
Yeah, that might have been what happened there. But just overall, I had a lot of really silly mistakes, and then some mistakes that I repeated twice in a row. Like in the vertical auto scroller room and stepping stones, I remember there was one race where I accidentally like wall boosted off of the auto scroller block and
Oh no.
and died to it pretty early on. So that was like 3-4 seconds early, and then I did the exact same thing again an instant later. So that whole race is instantly lost, pretty much, just because of how short the level was. But there were things like that all over. Like I would have there were times I lost a race in the first like 2 or 3 rooms just because of losing time there so early. Like I died at the end of the second room in one of my races.
Oh no.
I think I might have actually even done it twice. I don't know. It was not good.
Oh no. Yeah, understandable.
I
But yeah,
enjoyed
I
it.
think
I enjoyed the tournament, but it was not. I did not have a good showing.
yeah, I definitely enjoyed it as well. Oh, and Talia was, I think at the beginning, Talia had pretty inconsistent times, but at the end of the tourney, Talia got like low 2-4x's consistently, and that was so scary.
Yeah, I was like between because Talia was my last matchup. I think Talia beat me like early on. What happened? I don't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I think Talia beat me early on, and then I had to fight Talia again, trying to get back into finals or whichever.
yeah,
Um,
you played Talia in round 2 and played her again in losers finals.
yeah, so I had to try and crawl back through that, but did not. I was just between every match, I was just putting in chat Talia scary.
Yeah. Uh, um, I think you got the best qualifier time. Like for B tourney for seeding, for our listeners,
Yeah, that
we
went
had
really
to
well.
do three back to back for BLs, and they would use that total time at the end as seeding. Also, we used the relay commands and used file time for for the races, because if you die in room 1 the chapter time will reset, and especially if you do something aggressive it's pretty easy to die in room 1.
Oh, you were using
Like
relay command?
I think we were using relay
I was
commands.
just cheat moding files personally.
Oh no, we were cheat moding
Okay,
files.
yeah.
True. We
Yeah.
were cheat moding files and used the file term of rich itself. True. That was it. I forgot.
Yeah,
We didn't
there you
use
go.
relay commands because we used vanilla. I forgot. Yeah. Um.
Oh yeah, of course. We were running to run
Yeah.
on vanilla. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Makes
There
sense.
you go. You have better memory than I do. At least about that.
I just remember it because I was bored for a period between the races and trying to get the best cheat mode time I could.
Perfect. Like Talia's stupidly good at cheat mode. Didn't Talia get like an OX or low 1x during that tourney?
I don't know. My best cheat mode ever is like 2 frames below 4.2. I don't know exactly what, but yeah, I don't think I even got a 4.1 the whole time.
Yeah, I think Talia got a 4.1 or something. Like Talia's stupidly good at cheat code. But yeah, like by the way, for the yeah, I played Talia then twice at the semifinals and in the finals then, because in the semifinals I won against her. So she played in the losers finals against you, and then won, and we played in the grand finals. And spoilers, I won, and it was
Woo!
2-1 both times. Yay! I'm the 4B champion.
Tiyo 98 4v champion of all time.
I didn't win the world record battle, but I won the war. No, but like I put in some time to know what the hell should I drop from the IELTS, and I was pretty consistent then at my strats.
I'm trying to remember what it was I was doing overnight that had me staying up. But I was like doing something Celeste speedrunning wise that just I couldn't. I felt like I already wasn't gonna get sleep, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is early. I just cannot sleep tonight. Then what happened though?
What did you do? That was like February. So what did you do in February?
Well, I mean, 4B was most of it, but I'm pretty sure I had been trying to move on from that a little bit. I don't remember.
DTS com DTS
Was it?
consop? Maybe?
Maybe. That sounds like it's plausible, but yeah. Either way. Oh yeah, that was something I totally forgot to mention for today, because I kind of wanted to get into DTS. Mind if we transition to talking about farewell here? Because we kind of covered, I think, most of
If the
4B.
episode isn't long enough, because I think we were recording for a long time already, and farewell could take a while.
We're at like 50 minutes. We could squeeze in some more.
Sure.
Yeah. So
we already do like 1 hour 6 or 7 minutes already. So
yeah, it's fine if we're a little bit over. It doesn't have to be exactly around an hour, whichever. But anyway, farewell in the period pretty much immediately following the Summer Open, which was, I think, that ended somewhere around the end of September of 2021, was the end of Summer Open when Marlon dominated everyone. Right after that was the time that Farewell had a very, very big, very important glitch discovered, or the glitch exploit, whatever you want to call it. And what it did basically was there was the cutscene where you, spoiler alert for those of you for some reason have not, actually played through Farewell. Spoiler alert about this. Just gonna say that anyway. But the cutscene where you're at Granny's grave at the beginning of the level, if you end up interacting with the cutscene but then jumping the frame after, you can pretty much just float away all the way up through the sky through multiple screen transitions while the cutscene's going on. And then when you skip cutscene, you can suddenly be those multiple rooms up above. And what that does is it makes it so that you're in space with 2 dashes when normally you're not supposed to be, first of all. But then in the middle of the room, immediately after that, there is a trigger that is supposed to remove your second dash, because Farewell is only supposed to be played with 1 dash. The cutscene normally just puts you right in the center of that trigger, so there's no chance you could have anything but 1 dash for the level. But if you do this, you float up on the side away from the trigger, and there just so happens to be enough space over the top of the screen where you can't even see Madeline, that if you do the right movement, you can dash over the top of the trigger and then keep 2 dashes for 2/3 of the entire level for Farewell. So this was discovered by who? Wait a minute, who had discovered it again? It was two people who had the idea,
Vamp
and
and Creepy Cat? I don't know.
or
I
who did
think
you say was the other name?
Vamp and I think Creepy Cat or
Yeah,
something. I
yeah.
don't
There
know.
you
I
go.
don't know.
Okay, so I think um Creepy Cat. Okay, this was I remember the context because I chatted with them about it. I was like looking into the history of it at one point, and Creepy Cat I think was trying to figure out the ways to play farewell in as few dashes as possible. So this glitch became one of the things to do that because you had to use much fewer dashes if you just float through to the top afterward, you know. Um, so there was that, and then it was I think Vamp had realized that the trigger was there, and they just somehow came to the maybe it was Creepy Cat, maybe it was Vamp who figured out you could go over the top. I don't remember who exactly, but either way, they together discovered that you could just get over the top of the dash trigger there. And a few days after they discovered this, they through that time period they had been working on a task of two dash farewell with this glitch, and then released it and showed the first sub 10 farewell to everybody. I think it was October 10th. Um,
Also, I think the funny thing about that, I think Jax tested a bit, but Jax didn't know about this, but was only told to test like New Game Plus farewell stuff or something.
yeah, it was kind of a weird thing that they did, admittedly, about how they went about it. Because instead of telling people, "Hey, look, there's this crazy glitch that saves a huge amount of time," they tasked it in secret over 4 or 5 days. And also, you're saying about Jax is right. They asked about the last room of Event Horizon. There's all these spinners and some Kevin blocks in kind of the middle of that weird giant room, where there was a way to get like massive amounts of speed using them, and they just asked Jax for help tasking that. I don't know if they said New Game Plus or what, but they basically didn't tell Jax they'd found the glitch. They just said they wanted the room tasked in tasked, excuse me, in 2 dash. Um, but yeah, either way, it was a little bit strange not to just tell people about the glitch, but you know, it's cool to have had it either way. It only made it so that people got it a few days later. Um,
Also, it was a mess.
okay,
Like
yeah,
for us SSC people,
yeah,
we had to really fast figure out what to do
yeah.
about this. Yeah.
Because if you have such a major game-changing glitch like that, you're gonna have to adjust how you're having the speedrun board set up, and they didn't say anything about it to the speedrun moderators. So releasing like that kind of just dropped a bombshell on everybody there at the same time. Um, but yeah, anyway, that's a little bit of the history around farewell that was going on at the moment, and the timing for that in the perspective of myself and Isaac really sucked because
Yep.
we'd both just finished pretty much grinding any percent as much as we had wanted to, because I had just before that gotten 26 following the end of the summer open. And I did had Isaac gotten 26 there? Yeah, I got mine right after Isaac. So Isaac and I had both just gotten 26 any percent. We were very happy with what we'd done there, wanted to move on. And we were both like, hey, let's try and play farewell. You know, maybe we'll both grind for 14 or something like that, because it would have been really cool to both be trying for that. So we were doing that at the very beginning of October, and been maybe actually like end of September, beginning of October. So like it had been 2 or 3 weeks that we had been grinding out segment times and practice and farewell for what is now considered no DTS, no dash trigger skip, but back then was just farewell as we knew it. And then this major glitch comes out that changes how you have to do all of the movement for every checkpoint, except like the end of the level. But for every checkpoint, we'd been practicing at that point. So everything that we'd done had almost been overwritten by the existence of a new glitch. So like on one hand, it was really cool that there's suddenly a minute of new time save and farewell. But on the other, in our perspective, it was just, wow, this is terrible timing, because now it feels like I wasted the last 3 weeks of my practice here. Uh,
Yeah.
how was
And you
did,
and,
did
and and you were very stubborn and just still went for no TTS comms up after the trick was found.
yeah, I just I don't know. There was a part of me that would thought it was cool, but most of me at that point was just kind of frustrated and upset that I didn't didn't really have time that was productive at that point anymore. Because like the reason I was playing Farewell back then is because I wanted to learn it for 100%. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, like if I'm learning it for 100%, then obviously I'm gonna want to do what's fastest there. I'm not doing it just for the sake of the individual level. And when this new glitch suddenly comes out that saves a minute, it's like all that time was suddenly felt like it had been wasted entirely. So I was frustrated and just didn't want to change what I was doing. So stubbornly continued to grind out to beat all of the rest of the Farewell comp subs for no DTS, despite the fact that the new glitch was in. And honestly, I should have just swapped the DTS right then and there. It would have saved me a lot more time and probably some more frustration in the end. But I don't know. I was just very, very peeved over that and didn't
What do
react
you
in a
mean?
way that was good for me.
You did stubbornness, recon, and last screen. What do you mean? That is DTS power.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, I did put a lot of the time into those last three checkpoints that are after DTS, and you know that. Oh yeah. Speaking of them, though, like just recently, Hyken has beaten both my Moonberry time and my Recon time, so by like a second each. So shoutouts to Hyken. Those
Just
checkpoints are
like
really hard, really long, but lots of fun. Um, yeah, like that was. I'd say it was worth it to have done what I did in the end because I was still getting better at Celeste overall, but at the same time, I could have been spending my time better if I had just played DTS. I don't know. It's very stubborn of me. Did you interact with DTS early on, or were you still playing ARB then?
so I was relearning every ARP chapter, right, when that came out, and
Mm-hmm.
I immediately went and labbed some stuff and was like, oh, this is fun. And just continued. Also, I think my motivation to actually learn this was that someone, I forgot who, said that everybody just labs Singler and Power Stories. I remember it and stuff like that. So I just ignored these checkpoints and went to Event Horizon and Determination first,
Mm. Okay.
and lab stuff there. And then I was already so deep in, so I just practiced those and actually learned Farewell proper.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
Because
already on, oh, go ahead.
those two are one of the hardest checkpoints. And the thing is, I in summer before I was busy for like half a month or so. I learned Singular and I think Stubbornness. Just short. I just wanted to learn short farewell checkpoints. That's why those two specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think those are the two shortest.
Singular and stubbornness.
Um, yeah.
Well,
If
aside
you
from
ignore
start,
last,
yeah, but you
aside
don't
from
really count start.
start and last screen. So but yeah. So I already knew Stubbornness. Um, last screen is not that much to learn if you don't go stupid.
Yeah, I mean, even then, it's not like a crazy amount to learn because a lot of it is just floating slowly with the jellyfish. So it's longer than it is actual amount of content you're learning.
Yeah. Also, I learned like I knew how to play farewell a bit because I just absorbed what everybody else is doing, and I sometimes did some farewell ones, but not really properly. But yeah, I definitely jumped on the GTS bandwagon and learned it immediately. And yeah, I got. Oh yeah, my 1440, right? My current
Oh
PB,
yeah.
that was world record pace into recon at the time.
Mm.
It was it was like 10 seconds ahead or so, compared to hiking or something into recon.
Oh yeah, because of yeah, that was an interesting time of the level, the early days of Farewell DTS. But now it's more optimized. It's not as well optimized, I feel, as no DTS is, especially after, was it DOF that just got world record
Nof,
in no
Nof,
DTS? Or Nof?
yeah,
My bad.
Nof
I get
with
them
N.
mixed up sometimes. Sorry. Nof, DOF. It's just one letter off.
Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah. GG's to Nof for that. Um yeah, it's not quite as optimized as that is now, especially after that, I feel. Partly because DTS just almost makes it, I don't know if this is just my personal opinion or not. I don't know if it's more common, but I feel like DTS, even at the highest level, just makes that whole first section of Farewell pretty much easier. Like there are a few odd rooms that are harder than the no DTS versions are, but overall, I feel like it's significantly easier than no DTS
Oh,
Farewell.
definitely.
Okay.
Remembered, for example, so much
Oh
easier.
yeah. Remembered. Remembered is a really tough checkpoint in no DTS. There's just like a lot of little things that you have to be really weirdly precise with. But DTS just makes it free. Like especially that one, the last vertical room in the early stages of Remembered
Oh,
there, where
yeah, with the spike blocks.
yeah. So like you're having to do all these pretty precise neutrals and decent dash spacing, and then like making sure that you're not activating the last block. If you're, well, no, you do want to activate the last block if you're doing it with no DTS, if you're doing the fast strat. But it's like all this really kind of uncomfy sometimes climbing vertically. And then if you just do it with DTS, you just dash into all the springs immediately and win. You just save multiple seconds in that room, and it's infinitely easier. It's huge.
And and in my opinion, it's cooler.
Yeah, it looks cooler too, because it's just some of the stuff with how DTS breaks things just looks more interesting. You know, like obviously it's a little bit sad that you're completely subverting what the puzzles are supposed to be for the movement, but some of them just aren't as fun in no DTS than as they are in DTS, because breaking stuff like that is fun. You don't get that much in Celeste. You don't get to break the puzzles all that much, relatively speaking. Like there are things like second blockless and ceiling pop where you're completely breaking how the room is supposed to be played, and that's cool in my opinion. Like it's not that common, but it's really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we probably reached a decent point to end on here, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Talked about quite a bit. We got through talking about lots of 4B in there. I think we probably talked about it for like 45 minutes almost. That was a lot. Yeah, it was a good
Good
time.
level though.
So thank you everybody for listening again. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on there, so that you can get more updates of when we're posting these, or follow along with on Spotify for more posts there. And yeah, thanks for
Or
listening.
the very few people who listen on Google Podcasts.
Oh yeah, Google Podcasts. I almost forgot. Thank you, Tiyo. Yeah, thanks for listening though. See you next time.
See ya.